Hey, good evening, everyone. This is Tracy Gibbs, Chief Scientific Officer for LifeWise. Thank you for joining me tonight. Last week, we wrapped up our 4-part series on Miracle Molecule. So now that that's all done, I want you guys to join me in the lab tonight to go over the LifeWise products frequently asked questions. Why I'm starting this first before I go into in-depth training on the products is because I get quite a few questions every single day, and I've compiled all those questions into these FAQ pages. By the way, there's 8 of them total, so quite a few questions. And we will be posting these on the LifeWise website shortly. It might be a couple more days, but we are going to consolidate them all. Decide which ones go on the website, and then get them on the website for you to have. But I will be starting next week going into in-depth training on each of our products, and it will be 1 product per week. So I'll be ending up just about near the end of June when we launch our 2 new products. So that will carry us for 2 more weeks, because at the end of June I'll be doing a training on the One, which is our fabulous whole food, all-in-one, all you'll ever need, the one best product out there. And then on the 1st of July, if it happens to fall before our grand opening, I will do an in-depth training on the Shield. So tonight, what I'm going to do is go over, again, these frequently asked questions. And since I've written them all down, it won't be very improv tonight. I'm going to be reading these questions, but I'll also be watching the live feed to see if there's any questions from my viewers right now that weren't perhaps on this list that I've got here. So I'm going to start first with general product information. These are about questions that I've received on our products in general, and then I'm going to break it down into FAQs on Clarity, Dream, and Restore. So let's start with just these general product FAQs. Y'all ready? We're just a couple minutes into this. It looks like we've got plenty of viewers now, so let's get going here. First and foremost, this happens to be one of the most frequently asked questions, so I put it right at the top of my list. Are the LifeWise products third-party verified or third-party certified? So one of the things you need to understand about our products is that they are manufactured in a CGMP NSF facility. Now, what that means is that CGMP guidelines were guidelines that were created back in 1996 under the Dietary Supplement Health and Education Act that put the manufacture of dietary supplements under FDA regulation. And so the FDA had created these, what they're called CRF guidelines for the manufacture of supplements. And by the way, some of these guidelines are actually stricter than the pharmaceutical industry, by the way. For example, dietary supplements pretty much have to be plus or minus 2% of label claims, whereas some pharma and OTCs can be plus or minus 5% of certain label claims. So these guidelines are quite strict and quite demanding in their quality controls. And one of those guidelines is that, yes, all incoming raw materials must be quarantined. And then those raw materials in quarantine are third-party tested. Once they pass that, they can then enter the manufacturing facility. The product is then weighed, or the ingredients are weighed and sorted and blended, and then the product is created. And then the finished product must also be third-party tested. Now, some manufacturing facilities have created their own in-house laboratories, and they set them up as separate companies so they can consider it a third-party test. Our facilities don't have their own in-house facilities, so they are literally sent out to a third-party, non-biased laboratory and then tested for active quantities as well as yeast, mold, E. coli, TPC, which is total plant count for any type of bacterial growth, and heavy metal toxicity. So yes, all of the LifeWise products are third-party tested simply because they are manufactured in facilities that are audited by GMP auditors or NSF auditors. And so we have to do that because at any given point, these auditors can call for these tests and results and quality control, what's called SOPs, standard operating procedures. And we've got to show those. So yes, the products are third-party certified. When I say certified, they're third-party tested. There's really no like stamp of certification that you get. And there is no such thing, by the way, as FDA approval for dietary supplements. As a dietary supplement in the United States, you can legally sell the dietary supplement under FDA guidelines. What you can't do is you can't make claims or specific curative claims for any disease on a dietary supplement without FDA approval. So that's where people get, I guess, confused. Dietary supplements are not drugs. They do not need FDA approval, although the manufacturing of dietary supplements does fall under FDA guidelines. All right. Here's another frequently asked question I get. From where are the ingredients in LifeWise products sourced? And that's a great question. So I've been in the industry for 28 years and I have relationships with raw material suppliers all over the world. I have great relationships with certain suppliers who have very high quality standards and or they trademark or patent their ingredients because they've done specific testing on them and whatnot. So I'm going to read the answer right here. We do source the best ingredients from all over the world, typically from companies that I have close relationships with. I have seen and studied their ingredients and seen how they process their ingredients. And I guess you could say that, yeah, I think they're a cut above the rest, and that's why I choose to buy those ingredients. Now, one thing I don't like doing, but I have done and do occasionally, it depends on if the specific ingredient is best sourced from China or not, but typically I don't source ingredients from China. Now, that being said, as I mentioned in the previous question, all of our raw materials are quarantined and tested for quality before they are allowed into the facility, okay? So even if an ingredient I choose is sourced from China, it still meets my quality standards. But typically I don't because I've rejected so many ingredients that have come from China. And by the way, if they're quarantined and we pull that sample and test it and the testing is not compliant or doesn't meet specifications, it's rejected and either disposed of or sent back to the supplier. And we've had to reject so many raw materials from China that it's typically a waste of time sourcing from China. I think this is where most people have their concern, is if we're sourcing from China or not. There are some suppliers and some ingredients that I have sourced from China. However, not so far in the LifeWise products. These are previous companies that I'm talking about. But you know, if I had to, if some company in China proved that they were quality, then yeah, you bet I wouldn't mind buying from them, knowing full well that, again, as that shipment was sent to the United States and it passed our customs agents, it would be quarantined in our facility and then tested for quality. So, but yes, we do. I would say the majority of our products right now come from the United States and Canada. I get quite a few ingredients from South America, Brazil, in particular, India. We get a few from India. South Africa is another country I've sourced from before. So it would, you know, be ingredient per ingredient where I get those from. Japan, I've sourced some ingredients from Japan before. All right. Which LifeWise products are non-GMO? All of the LifeWise products are non-GMO. And when you're talking about a product, we're actually specifically talking about ingredients. None of the ingredients in LifeWise products are genetically modified organisms. Which LifeWise products are certified organic? That's another great question, one that's going to take a little bit of explanation. Certified organic means USDA, so United States Department of Agriculture certified organic. This only applies, by the way, to ingredients sourced in the United States and sold in the United States, right? So if I source an ingredient from Brazil, actually Brazilian organic processing and everything is much stricter than USDA organic certification. The USDA actually has approved a ton of different pesticides and herbicides that, though they may be from more natural sources, still do not meet my quality guidelines. So I could really care less about USDA organic certification. What I really do care about is that there are no pesticides or herbicide residues on any of the raw ingredients that I source. And I don't care whether they have a Japanese certification or a USDA organic certification. That's not what I look for. I look for a certificate of analysis that shows me that there's no pesticide or herbicide residues. What maybe is more crucial than certified organic is I look for Prop 65 compliant. For those of you that don't know what that is, California created this insane law, and you've all seen it. If you've all been to California, before you walk into a Walmart or before you pump gas at the gas station, you have these little plaques that say, warning, this facility holds or houses ingredients that have been known to cause cancer in humans, right? This is Prop 65, where they have this law in California that if there's anything that, I mean, a myriad, I think they have 2,200 some odd things that they test. And if any one of them is known to cause cancer, you have to put this little sign or placard on your storefront or on your packaging or things like that. And it is insanely strict. I mean, leave it to the Californian lawyers to think of things like this. But one of the things I look for when I purchase raw materials is that they are Prop 65 compliant. That would mean that they've been tested for these 2,200 different residues, plastics, herbicides, pesticides, everything, right? And that they are okay. They have passed Prop 65. That's what I look for in a raw material, not USDA certified organic, which is very loose in its certifications, but I look for Prop 65 compliance. So that's the answer to your question. So the answer is, I guess, no, we don't have the USRDA certified organic seal on all of our raw ingredients. Now, some of them do, but some don't. Like I said, I really don't care. I don't look for it. But if it is certified organic, it will say it on our label. For example, I just finished proofing the supplement facts panel for the One, which is coming out on July 4th. We have multiple ingredients in the One that are USDA certified organic, and they say it right on there, certified organic, blend of blah, 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 and then it'll have all these certified organic ingredients on it, right? But then we have other ingredients that aren't certified organic, but are Prop 65 compliant. So to me, that's more important. All right, which of the LifeWise products are gluten-free? All of LifeWise ingredients and products are gluten-free, and we actually have that gluten-free symbol right on our packaging, all right? Which LifeWise products are vegan or vegetarian? Here's another great question. All of our products so far to date are vegan or vegetarian. Now, does that mean in the future I might not have a vegan product? You know, if I do a joint-enhancing ingredient that contains glucosamine, yes, there are vegan sources of glucosamine, but I haven't really seen great clinical studies on those. The non-vegetarian sources tend to have better studies. I might use a non-vegetarian source of glucosamine. To me, it's not really important. But so far, to date, all of our products, so Dream, Clarity, Restore, all are vegan products. And by the way, the One will be a vegan product, and so will Shield. That will also be a vegan product. Let's go on. Which LifeWise products include ingredients that contain or are derived from egg, milk, or soy? Right now, none of them. We do not have any soy, egg, or milk ingredients in any of our products. Are the LifeWise products or ingredients non-irradiated? None of our ingredients are irradiated. Here's another question I get. It's, I guess, in the top 10. Can the Restore capsules be broken and mixed into a shake? And I would say not just Restore, but when the One comes out, you can do that too. I mean, if anybody has trouble swallowing a capsule, stick it in your Vitamix and blend it up. Put it in your favorite smoothie, blend it up, and you can swallow it down. Now, as long as you get all of what you blended down your throat, okay, you'll be getting the same dose. But if you're like my wife, sometimes she makes a full blender and then she divides that up into 4 cups for each of us 4 people still at home. Well, if you did that, you're only getting 1/4 of the dose. So if you want the full dose and you're sticking it into a blender to blend up the capsules, be sure you drink the full amount to get the full dose, all right? Let's see, where can I find a breakdown of the exact dosage of the ingredients in each of the LifeWise products? I addressed that one on a Facebook post maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago. You know, LifeWise formulas are proprietary blends, which means they're secret. Now, the exact milligram dose of each of the ingredients is not listed on the label, but the blend together dose is listed on the label. And I said on my Facebook post, look, when Coca-Cola discloses its secret formula, or when, you know, Colonel Sanders, I believe he's dead already, so when the company, KFC, decides to disclose its secret blend of herbs and spices, then maybe I'll consider sharing my secret formulas. But look, secrecy is not uncommon in any food industry. I was just speaking with Heath from Minnesota, who owns his own butcher shop, and he makes his own sausages. And guess what? He's got a secret blend of the way he mixes spices and herbs together. And he's not going to share that with anybody because that's his secret know-how, you know? It's not that we're trying to deliberately hide or trick people into thinking we have like super low doses or that we're trying to scam you. No, the products work. People know that. If something works, why would I disclose it? So that, you know, our competitors or big companies would go ahead and steal our formulas and make something better and maybe market it better than we can. Plaster it all over social media, plaster it all over, you know, TV commercials. Maybe they have CNN contracts or something. Why would I do that when we don't have billions of dollars for marketing? We're word of mouth marketing. You guys watching are our marketing tool. So I'm not going to disclose that recipe in its entirety. You know, if somebody has like a really severe allergy or something, then private message me. Maybe I'll tell you how much of one particular ingredient is in there or not, just so that you can feel safe. Maybe I won't share it. I don't know. But no, I don't. You will not find the exact milligram amount of each of our formulas, of any of our formulas, posted anywhere. All right, I have allergies. Can I take the LifeWise products? Well, LifeWise products do not contain any of the known common allergens like soy, corn, wheat, tree nuts, peanuts, shellfish, fish, or dairy. They don't have any of those ingredients, but you know what? I'm sure there's probably somebody out there who's allergic to saffron. Maybe, I don't know, it could be rare, but you know, there might be somebody allergic to peppermint, possibly. So if you do have a severe allergy towards certain food, read our ingredients. Every single ingredient in our product is written on the label. Now, the milligram amount is not written on the label, like I just mentioned, but every single ingredient in there is written on the label, including the flavors and things like that. What are the natural flavors in LifeWise products? That's a great question because guess what? We really don't use any. I don't have any flavoring in the LifeWise products. Now, I put peppermint essential oil in the Clarity, and that gives it that nice minty flavor. So I guess you could consider that a flavoring. It's a peppermint essential oil. The flavor that you get from the Dream comes from saffron, which is a great flavor, by the way, and a little hint of peppermint as well, peppermint essential oil. There's no flavoring in Restore. The one's not going to have any flavoring, so we don't use any, like I don't have any MSG or synthetic ingredients or anything like that. Do you use artificial coloring? I know I've had that question quite a few times because people love the look of our saffron color oral strip in Dream. And guess what? That's the color of saffron. I don't use any coloring. It's why Clarity is kind of clear, because all the ingredients in Clarity, the actual raw materials are kind of a white tannish type color. And so that's the color of Clarity. Dream is this pretty saffron color because of the saffron in it. the natural colors that are found in the Restore are the actual colors of curcumin, basically. That's why it's yellow, right? I'm making a slight change to Restore. We'll talk about that when I do the Restore training. So it's going to change the color slightly, again, because these are all natural. Does LifeWise conduct testing on its products? That's another great question. So I kind of answered that previously, where we do have third-party testing as far as purity and quality control testing, heavy metals, E. coli, yeast, salmonella, things like that. But I think this question might be referred to, for example, like clinical studies. And the answer to that question on the Restore is absolutely yes, we do. Restore, as it is today, has over 6 peer-reviewed clinical studies done on it, and those I've talked about those before. I've shared the website where you can go to find those. Our other products, though, I've purchased clinically proven and patented and/or trademarked ingredients that do have studies on them. And in my previous Miracle Molecule series, I did talk about those studies as well. And they are human studies, by the way, and they are, which is kind of funny. I've had people say, do you do animal testing? And I answered yes, and they got really appalled. And they're like, how could you be so cruel to animals and everything? I said, well, you know, we did human studies. And they're like, oh, well, that's okay. So I thought it was hilarious that, yeah, we can test on humans and it's just fine. But if we test on a bunny rabbit, they get freaked out. So, but yeah, human studies, because that's what's relevant to us as humans, I believe, and if the products work or not. So they are dietary supplements. They're not chemicals. They don't need to be tested for safety on rats and rabbits and things first. Because they do come from food, we can go ahead and test them on humans because humans have eaten these foods for a long time. Anyway, what is the shelf life of the LifeWise products? So currently I've formulated these to be about 18 to 24 months. The best buy date is written right on the label. Now, again, because these are new ingredients, we can't put an expiration date because the FDA now requires that if you have an expiration date, then you have to have real-time stability testing. Well, guess what? Our first batch of Dream was produced in the end of March of 2023. So if we want 2-year shelf life, I will have to test that batch, which, by the way, we pull retains and we keep those retains of each batch so that 2 years from March, I'll be able to test that product and see if it's still good, if it's still stable, if it's still efficacious, if there's no bacteria or mold or anything like that. And once that is done, then I can write an expiration date. But until then, we do a best buy date based on the research and know-how and knowledge that we have in making products. We estimate these to be 18 to 24 months right now, which is why we put a best date on them. Are there any types of preservatives used to prolong the shelf life of the LifeWise products? No, there are not. Now, you could consider peppermint oil, peppermint essential oil, a type of preservative, because bacteria and mold and yeast and whatnot cannot grow in essential oils. They're steam distilled, kind of like alcohol, and nothing can grow in them. So when you use an essential oil as part of your product, you pretty much know that nothing's going to grow in it, right? So it does act, I guess you could say, as a preservative, although it's not considered a preservative. So yeah, I don't use any of the known preservatives like sodium benzoate or potassium sorbate. It's kind of unnecessary in our oral strips because they are sealed in individual packages. And the way we dry them and things like that, it preserves them quite nicely. All right. Do freezing temperatures damage the products? The answer to this is no. Freezing does not damage the product. Heat, on the other hand, anything over like 140 degrees. Now, that's pretty hot. If you live in any of the northern states, even leaving these in your car is probably not going to get to be 140 degrees. Cars probably get to 110, 120 degrees. But if you live in any of the southern states or Arizona, The dashboard of your car might get to 140 degrees in the summer, okay? So do not leave these in your car in the summer. It's best just to keep them around your home. Now, if you are in Arizona and you want to leave these in your car, put them in your console or in your glove box. Your glove box probably won't get to 140 even in midsummer. It might get to 120, but not 140. Most people in Arizona know these things, and so they crack their windows, right? If you keep your windows cracked, even in Arizona, the inside of your car typically gets around 100, well, whatever the outside air temperature is, 115, 118 maybe in the middle of the desert, but not 140, all right? Are there any types of artificial sweeteners used in LifeWise products? No, period. I am a anti-sucralose, anti-aspartame. I'm that type of person. If there are no sweeteners in our products now, but if I make anything in the future that would contain a sweetener, it would be stevia. Oh wait, no, we do use stevia, but that's not artificial. I think there is stevia in Dream and Clarity. Yes, there is. I have used Lohan before, erythritol, xylitol, the sugar alcohols in small quantities, because in large quantities they do tend to upset people with like IBS and celiac and things like that. So, all right, that's kind of the general FAQs. We can go over, let's go over some of the questions. Boy, it's almost been 30 minutes. We'll try to speed this up a little bit. Let's talk about Restore for just a little bit. What is the recommended dosage? Says it right on the bottle, 2 capsules. Now, does that mean you have to take 2 capsules? No, you can take 1 if you want. I have taken 8 per day. I will give a little warning here though. I have low blood pressure. I'm not going to say it's diagnosable low. It's lower than normal, right? So when I go in for a physical or something and they take my blood pressure, they're like, oh, you're really relaxed, you know? No, it's just I have normally low blood pressure. When I took 8 capsules of Restore, my blood pressure dropped even further, to the point to where I didn't feel energy. I felt kind of tired. So if you have high blood pressure, that might be a great thing for you, okay? If you have low blood pressure like I do, maybe don't exceed 6. I feel fine when I do 3 in the morning and 3 at night. I have no problems with that. But when I bumped it up to 8, I did notice it. Now, that was just me personally. You guys might be different, okay? But anyway, I wouldn't exceed like 8 to 12 capsules of Restore in a day. But the recommended is 2, all right? Can I use more than 1? I already mentioned that. Yeah. Can I use Restore with antidepressants or other medications? Absolutely, yes, you can. Now, if your doctor says, hey, don't eat Indian food when on this medication, then don't take Restore, because Restore is curcumin and it's boswellia. I mean, these are the things that are found in Indian foods, right? I've never heard a doctor say that before though. So if your doctor specifically says, don't eat Indian food when you take your medication, well, then don't take Restore with your medication, I guess. But again, I've never heard that before, so you're probably just fine. However, I should say legally, consult with your doctor. If he even knows about any of this stuff. Most doctors don't, but you can still consult with him, and he might shrug his shoulders and say, I don't know. And in that case, call me and consult with me if you want. Although I'm not your doctor, I'm not going to tell you what meds you should or shouldn't take, but I can certainly tell you if there are any known contraindications to these products. And right now I'm telling you there are no known contraindications to the ingredients in Restore, especially at the milligram amounts that are in there, right? Can athletes use Restore for sports injuries? I will tell you this, and again, I'm not an athletic coach, but I can officially say that there are no ingredients in Restore that are banned by WADA, which is the World Anti-Doping Association or agency. I'm not sure what the last A is for, but it's basically the things that they test for doping. There are no doping ingredients in any of our products, by the way. Is Restore safe for children or infants? Yes, it is. They won't be able to swallow that capsule though, and you'll make a darn mess of yourself if you try to poke a hole in it and squirt that into their bottle or something. I typically just say, look, if a child can swallow food, then they can take Restore. Is Restore safe for pregnant nursing mothers? Absolutely. Yes, it is. That's like saying, can nursing or pregnant mothers eat Indian food? Yes, of course they can. Can I use Restore before and after surgery? So your doctor will typically recommend a time period for which you can no longer eat prior to your surgery. And then they will recommend a time period for which you can start eating again after your surgery. So you can take Restore up until the time that they tell you not to eat. And you can take Restore from the moment they can tell you that they tell you that you can eat, okay? Dietary supplements are foods, you guys. So stop taking them if your doctor tells you not to eat food. Start taking them when he tells you you can start eating food, all right? So let's go over Dream FAQs. Same thing, what's the recommended dosage? 1 strip. Can I take more? Of course you can. Already I've had maybe half a dozen people tell me that they have been on prescription drug medications for sleeping. And that 1 strip, though it made them tired and drowsy, it did not put them to sleep. So I suggested they take 2 strips. And guess what? Dream worked at 2 strips for them. One person woke up at 3-something a.m. after taking 2 strips, and they took another one and was able to go back to sleep. So that person took 3 strips in one night. Totally fine. Can I use more than 1 strip? Yes, you can. Can I use Dream with antidepressants or medications? Legally, I have to say always consult with your physician, but I highly doubt your physician knows anything about saffron extract or anything like that. But yeah, go ahead, consult with them anyway. I also know this to be true, that there are no known drug contraindications with any type of ingredient that's found in Dream, okay? Is Dream safe for children? Yes, I've used it on my 6-year-old daughter. If she was 3 years old, I'd give it to her. I wouldn't give it to him daily. I don't think children need sleep aids daily, but there are some of those days where like you slip up as a parent and you let your kid have a Twinkie or a ding dong at 9 p.m. and they're bouncing off the couch and bouncing off the walls at 10 p.m. because of their sugar high. In those instances, give your kid Dream. Knock them out. It knocks my daughter out when she's got those days where she just doesn't want to sleep. She just wants to play on her iPad. I give her Dream. And 15 minutes later, 5 to 15 minutes later, she's out, okay? Is Dream safe for children? I already answered that. Is it safe for pregnant mothers? Yes, it is. There's one exception where I would think about it if I was pregnant, okay? I'm not a woman. Don't pretend to know anything about this stuff, with the exception of some women have baby heart rate monitors. If Dream slows down the heart rate of the baby to dangerous levels, then I wouldn't use it. Now, it has been known to do that, and the ingredients in there have been known to be safe. But again, if you're like in your 3rd trimester or something and baby's heart rate is an issue and it's something that's easily monitored, go ahead and take Dream, have your husband or something use a heart monitor while you're kind of getting nice and relaxed and dozing off. And check that baby's heart rate. And if the baby's heart rate drops really low, then maybe don't use Dream. That's the only thing I would be concerned about if I was a pregnant mother. Is Dream safe for nursing mothers? Yes, absolutely. Can those with anxiety take Dream? If it were me and I had anxiety, you bet I would take Dream. In fact, I might even take it during the daytime just to kind of take the edge off. Or I would cut it in half. Take half. See how that helps me feel. I've known people with anxiety to do that, and they've seemed to have great results. Can Dream help with ADHD or ADD? Again, I can't make any claims to cure, treat, or mitigate any disease or diagnosable disorder, which this falls under. I would just tell you, if it were me or if it were my child, I would certainly give it a try. It doesn't hurt to try. And of course, consult with your pediatrician or your doctor or something if you need to. Most likely, though, they're going to look at the ingredients and say, yeah, sure, why not? To give it a try. Clarity, frequently asked questions. What's the dose for Clarity? It's 1 strip. It's written right on the box. Is it safe for children? Yes. I've also used this on small children. It seems to work great for them. Is Clarity safe for pregnant nursing mothers? Yes, it is. Can Clarity help with ADD? Boy, everybody keeps asking this question. Same answer. I'm not a doctor. I can't tell you what to take for diseases. I can't make any claims as to this product's efficacy. But I know people who have used it and had great results. If I were a parent of a child who had ADHD, well, I guess I'm a stepfather to a 15-year-old who, by the way, does have trouble focusing and had trouble staying awake at school and things like that. We sent him to school with one Clarity. The next day, our box of Clarity was missing, and guess where it was? In his backpack. He took our entire box and took it to school with him. That's a 15-year-old acting on his own. That's how much he liked the Clarity, all right? Can I use Clarity with antidepressants or other medications? Always consult with your physician, of course. Again, with my knowledge and expertise, and I wrote a book on herb drug contraindications, there's nothing in Clarity that would have any type of drug interaction whatsoever. I've read that vinpocetine causes liver damage. Since Clarity contains this ingredient, is this product safe? Let me give you some facts. Every single ingredient in any food out there will cause liver damage if you take enough of it. Like even vitamin D, right? Vitamin A, vitamin E. In massive doses, these can harm your liver. Now, I do know the study right offhand on vinpocetine and liver damage, and it was 500 milligrams daily for 60 days. And all it did was raise ALT levels in the liver. Now, that doesn't mean liver damage. It just means your liver is working extra hard. So that's probably the study that you read because it's all over the internet. It's one of the reasons why the FDA they haven't even put it on a watch list yet. They probably won't because it's safe. But either way, we don't even have 1/500th of a milligram, let alone 500 milligrams. So I just kind of gave you a hint as to how much vinpocetine is in our Clarity. So yes, Clarity would be very safe for your liver, no problems whatsoever, even though it includes vinpocetine, because vinpocetine only causes slight ALT raising levels in your liver at 500 milligrams a day. You would literally have to take 500 or more oral strips every day of Clarity for more than 60 days to mimic that study. All right? That's the last of the FAQs. I've been watching a few of the live ones. I told people I would answer your questions. It looks like there's more testimonials and comments and questions, but if anybody's got, can our 3 shippable products be taken by nursing mothers? Already answered that one. Yes, they can. Anybody else saying that? Oh, somebody said, how does one of our Restore equate to 1 pump of the other product? Well, the other product was 4 pumps per dose. Ours is 2 capsules, which is the same as 1 dose, but it's nowhere near the efficacy of the former company's product, okay? Our Restore has 6 peer-reviewed clinical studies behind it. We didn't have that for the other product. So any other live questions here? If not, we'll wrap it up. It's been almost 40 minutes. Thank you guys for joining me tonight. Be sure to share this, right? These are frequently asked questions, and you will be doing our customer service team, Ronnie and Trisha and Sylvia and Michelle, you'll be doing them a ton of favors by sharing this information so that they're not inundated with phone calls asking the same questions over and over and over again. Now, if you got a question that I didn't cover tonight, yes, you can find me here on Facebook. Many of you have my phone numbers. We have our WhatsApp group chats. We have the Hope Brokers Facebook page. We have the LifeWise group Facebook page. We have many, many resources that you can use, including your upline, by the way, to ask those questions that I didn't cover tonight. And we would love to answer those questions for you. So share this information, get it out there. Again, thanks for joining me tonight. You guys have a wonderful evening. Good night.